Arc Raider's first expedition is here, which means if you're going on the expedition, you're about to lose all of your blueprints, all of your workshop upgrade progress, and also all of your items. You'll also lose all of your skills and progress on your skill tree. So I'm putting together the ultimate guide to find all of that stuff again, without too much stress. I'll showcase some of the best spots for some of the most common items, the most important items for upgrading your workshop levels, the best routes to find the blueprints you'll need at the start, like the Anvil, Venator, and Augment blueprints, and also my suggestion on what you should prioritize first for your skill tree. Let's first go over workshop progress. I believe the way it will work, and the wording is a bit confusing here, you will get all of your workshops at level 1 when you do the expedition, which means you'll need to level them up again. So I decided to add a new table on my spreadsheet where you'll be able to see all of the items you need, the quantity you need them for, and where best to find them. So for example, for the gunsmith level 2, we're going to need mechanical components, wasp drivers, rusted gears, advanced mechanical components, and sentinel firing cores. And if you click on the name of each item, it will take you to the timestamp of another video where it will showcase the most likely spawn for that item, which means you can save time if you're looking for something very specific, like rusted tools. Or if you don't want to watch the video, then I've got some tooltips on the side here to tell you where to look. We won't just need workshop items though. We are also going to need to build up a nice stash of those kind of items that you just can't craft. Magnets, springs, wires, processors, sensors, those kind of things. Here's a quick rundown for the best spots. Honestly, Stellamontes works for pretty much everything if you can deal with the close quarters to shredders and many other players thirsty for loot. The Seed Vault ends up being an amazing place to get very basic materials like chemicals and plastic parts, which is going to be perfect for building a lot of grenades, which is probably going to be needed to take down the bastions and bombardiers you'll need for the early workshop progress. If you go to the lobby metro, you'll also find a room where you'll get a bunch of oil, wires, and magnets every single time you come here. This is an amazing farm to get those important early game items. When it comes to mechanical components and metal parts and advanced mechanical components, you've got a few options. You can go and farm the cars in Bluegate. Everything in Checkpoint has a chance to drop mechanical components and metal parts, which can be crafted into mechanical components. This can also be a good source of springs. Check the car seats, they can spawn there. Or you could do a route on Spaceport. The fuel container area and rocket assembly have breachable containers that have advanced mechanical components as their spawn. For processors and sensors, you just need to breach the server cabinets, which are pretty much everywhere in the game. Some notable options include the Upstairs of Departure building, Dam Battlegrounds Power Generation Complex, Bluegate Data Vault, and there's a bunch in Stellamontes Medical Research. Also, loot the androids in Stellamontes as they can drop a bunch of sensors too. You're also going to be missing out on some of the most important blueprints, the Anvil, the Venator, the Augment blueprints. My spreadsheet, which will once again be in the pinned comment, will have the most likely containers for all of these. For example, the Anvil most likely spawns in Raider containers. So we're talking Raider caches, weapon boxes, ammo cases, and grenade cases. Now, uncovered caches was one of the best ways to get some of these early game weapon blueprints, but it's currently not in the game. However, the loot pool for the caches in Cold Snap is much the same. So you could just play Cold Snap and keep an eye out for those breachable Snow Raider caches. They can also drop the same sort of blueprints. When it comes to Augment blueprints, we all know the most popular spot, right? Underground in the security wing area of Bluegate. They definitely drop there a lot, but it's going to be extremely competitive as everyone tries to flock there to get their augments back. An underrated spot, from my experience, has been medical areas. Take a little look at this. If I go through all of my augments found, they've only dropped in 2 specific places. Of course, a large majority dropped in the security wing. As we can see here, it's really no surprise. But I've also found a couple now in the hospital, which have a bunch of medical containers. So keep your eyes peeled for this kind of container, because I'm quite confident now that augments can also spawn there. If you're looking for attachment blueprints like compensators or light mags, even just like a light mag 2, best bet is residential areas. So, Plaza Rosa, Village in Bluegate, they drop most commonly there. Now, the Wolfpack, which is a very common blueprint, or at least one that people want a lot, it's not common, the one that a lot of people will want to get their hands on so they can deal with the Ark, to upgrade their workshops, you're going to only find that in night raids. 99% of all user-submitted blueprint data that I've collected, the Wolfpack has dropped in night raids. So if you need to look for it, make sure you're looking in Night Raid, so you might struggle. Obviously, the deadline is now dropping inside Stellamontes, so that could be an alternative option. You only need 3 explosive compounds and 2 arc circuitries to craft one, which honestly is not really that different to a Wolfpack. Just remember, you'll need explosive station 3 to be able to do that. But when it comes to beating the arc to begin with, honestly, your best bet is just to go and craft a bunch of light impact grenades. And we talked about this earlier. You can just go and farm Seed Vault for that. Okay, so we've talked about items, we've talked about blueprints, we've talked about workshop upgrade items and their locations. What about leveling up? Right, we're all getting reset to level 1. So what's going to be the fastest way to level up now that we don't have a bunch of gear to level up with? Well, honestly, looting is a good shout. You could just do some loot runs on Seed Vault and just loot every container there. That is an underrated way to get a bunch of XP super quick. Or you can wait till Hidden Bunker and do the same Bastion Bombardier strat we've talked about, but just use light impact grenades instead of the hole cracker. Or you could get really big brain about it. You could go and loot Stellamontes and look for the deadline blueprint, whilst you're also farming as many containers as possible. You get XP for farming containers, you'll eventually get the deadline blueprint, and then all you need is a few Hornet drivers and some deadlines to go and get a bunch of XP really quickly whenever Hidden Bunker is around. There's many different ways to do it, but the fastest methods are going to rely on you getting some of the better blueprints for sure. Next, I want to take the path I'll take on the skill tree. Now, the path I take is going to be a little bit different to others. I'm going to speedrun the security breach. I know a lot of people won't like it as much now since it's random spawns, but getting this first before anyone else is going to have a lot of benefit on farming gun parts. However, I think for most people, the most sensible thing to do would first go down into this tree and then make sure that you can max out these 2 here. So we're going to get these both to 5 points in total. And then once you've done that, what we can do is come back down into the survival tree, go along down through here, 1 point here, and then get in-round crafting. We then want to get Looter's Instincts up to 5, like so. And then it's going to be a case of trying to get security breach as quick as possible. The quicker we get it, the more beneficial it is because, well, less people are going to have it, right? More security breaches for us, which is going to really help our own economy earlier on. Silent Scavenger isn't a big deal, so we'll only take 1 point in there. And then we're going to max out Revitalizing Squat to help us reach the skill point cap we need for reaching the next threshold here. We'll also get a couple more points in here. And then we just need 1 more point. So Looting Instincts is actually pretty good for speeding up looting containers. And then at this point, we are going to get both Suffer and Silence and then go down, and Good as New. We're then going to get Broad Shoulders. This is a really good skill as well. And then we are obviously going to max out Looter's Luck, which is going to speed up looting much quicker as well. So we're going to be able to loot things and containers really, really quick. We're going to get Traveling Tinkerer. We're going to get 1 Raider's Scraps up to 5. And then once that is up to level 5, I'm going to just get Stubborn Mule a little bit until we reach that 36 points. And 3 deep breaths. After an ability to drain your stamina, you recover more quickly. I get a little bit of that. And then we get the Security Breach skill and Minesweeper. Personally, Minesweeper has saved my life a few times. Especially when there's a lot of pulse mines around and explosive nades. Honestly, it's worked pretty well. So now that we've done that, what I would like to do is come down into the condition tree. Put 5 points into Use to the Weight, 1 point in Blastborn. Then I'm going to put 3 points in Fight or Flight, 1 point in Gentle Pressure, 5 points in Proficient Prior. The earlier skills here aren't as important, but Proficient Prior is going to be useful because we're going to be breaching a lot of things. At this point, we're going to take a break from here until the very end. We're going to take a break. But now we're going to come back to this tree and we're going to do Nimble Climber up to 5 points. I personally don't like Slip and Slide because I end up slip and sliding out of cover when I want to stop at a piece of cover. So I actually don't like this one. I will take Carry the Momentum. I will then get Effortless Roll up to 5 points. And then we will stop there. We've got 2 more skill points. And obviously we'll get another 5. So the goal would be at this point to go 1 here. And then 1 into a little extra. And then 1 into loaded arms. And then we've got a couple more skill points to play with potentially at the end as well. So there's my ultimate starter guide for arc raiders. The link to most of the data that I've got in this video is in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please consider subscribing and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.